Yo, yo, yo. What is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters? If you happen to be catching this, you either live in Europe or you just happen to be up right now. It is currently 5:02. I think it's actually kind of perfect that I'm making it at this point. How to crush it in 2021. And I'm just now realizing that I put 2020 as a stream name. I'm going to change that right here. I put 2020. We're going to keep it. We're going to move it to 2021 because that's what it is. An error occurred on YouTube. You have to momentarily wait and try again. That's really funny that I did that. Let's see if it actually saves. Nope. Oh, there it goes. Now it looks like it changed on my end. I think that's hilarious that as soon as the new year begins, I make a simple mistake as how to crush it in 2020 when we just went through 2020. And of course, I was making jokes about how we were going to wake up and it was going to be January 1st, 2020 all over again, part two, the infinite time loop. So, which we technically are in an infinite time loop. I don't know exactly how. Well, it's infinite, obviously, right? But there are time loops within time loops, and the particular time loop that we've been in for a while, and it is time to break out of it. So, and I really do feel like that's what this year is going to be about. It's about breaking out of time loops, patterns, situations, kind of going around the same circle over and over and over again. So, how to crush it in 2021? A lot of people wake up around this time, that claim to be crushing it or make videos such as this. And you're going to respond to this video probably in either one of two ways. All right. You're going to respond to this video with a lot of motivation, a lot of inspiration, and you're going to actually want to go out there and crush it. Right. Because when you hear this whole thing about, crushing your goals and stuff like that, it sounds rather intense and exciting, but it does sound very motivating and stuff. So you're either going to respond to this video with the sort of, actually really being motivated to crush it this year, or you're going to respond to this sort of like rolling your eyes. Okay, there's another person who's just full of hot air, another person that's maybe a scam artist, another person that maybe have imposter syndrome, another person that, is kind of talking that game. But can they actually back it up? So it's kind of funny that I'm actually talking about this because in many ways I do kind of feel like an imposter. But I think this is actually going to be a year that really favors imposters because since we are moving more to this age of Aquarius and we do have Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius right now, the people that really flourish over the next year and a year or so, year and a half, because Jupiter's going to be here for about a year, right? But then you have Saturn, which is going to be here for about 3 years. So the people that are going to really flourish, that you see flourish, that really kind of blossom, I'd say by the time that Saturn comes to the end of Aquarius, you're going to start to see certain people really blossom when it comes to expressing their truth, expressing their individuality, and showing their love for the world and stuff like that, and showing the love of themselves too, to embrace their unique self in these very trying ass times. Okay, you're going to see this. You're going to see the people that really come into this are going to be the people that crush it and may even have to experience a bit of this imposter syndrome or people casting these projections, right? Because we have to remind ourselves that if you think about Leo and the sun. Speaking of Leo, I have my cat right here, Leo. He's just so interested in what I'm doing. You have that, and then you have the Aquarius energy. So it's this whole thing where it's like, what happens is that a lot of people, they will take one of the rays of the sun and worship that particular ray instead of recognizing that all of these rays come from the same source. But they'll take one particular part of that ray and they'll worship that thing. What Aquarius understands is that they are a unique ray of that sun, but they ultimately do come from a mass or a unit, because Aquarius does rule the masses too. So they're not afraid to be unique. The main thing that they run into is other people not seeing how they are also connected to them. That's why they are seen as aliens, but they really are brothers and sisters. They just look different, right? So, as I said earlier, you're going to respond to this video either with excitement and motivation, or you're going to respond to it with a sort of like, you're going to just kind of like, it's like dust off your shoulder, like, oh, don't worry, nah, whatever. We've heard that before. We've heard that, done that. We've heard that, done that. You know, we don't need to hear that anymore, okay? Why am I holding my mic? I don't know. I'm just choosing to hold my mic, okay? I normally would respond to this video with a sort of, you're an imposter, you're an impasta, okay? You know, hot air. Typically, we'll look at it and we think it's a scam. We might, oh, you know, that doesn't seem right. Oh, we're crushing it. When I hear this, I do think of influencers, and I do think of motivators, and I do think of that sort of energy, you know, and not all of them exhibit this energy, right? But we're all influencers in some way, right? What is an influencer? This is just someone who's able to go into you, inside of you, and work with your fluid, your water, your emotion, and like control you in some way, shape, or form. This is someone who's able to come into you and like influence your emotions, be able to kind of control you from that emotional state, and then they can gain a certain reaction out of you. That's what an influencer does. And we all do this. The only thing now is that people are making a living off of it in a very unique way, because we're coming to the age of Aquarius, right? So you have a lot of people out here that claim to have the next best thing, or they, you know, they're putting all these motivational content, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, a lot of times I will look at this sort of stuff, admittedly, and this goes into like the whole self-help industry and self-help books and all this sort of stuff, life coaching and everything like that. And I look at these people and I'm like, you always hear about it. Hard work, crushing it, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, I'm getting like Jocko Willink vibes, even though that dude's like incredible, like just his kind of passion, or David Goggins, like that kind of energy. Like we're talking like how to crush it in 2021. All right. The way that you crush it in 2021 is pretty freaking simple, actually. Is that even when you feel like there's nothing you can do, if you can find something to do and you do it consistently, you will crush it. That's all it is. You know, 2021 is in many ways going to be a continuation of 2020. 2020 is not going to change. What happened in 2020 was this major shift in our world, right? Where this old empire in many ways is collapsing. This old way of living is collapsing. This old way of looking at the world is collapsing, and it has been collapsing too. It's not like it was sudden or anything like that. If you've been able to, if you've been open, if you've been able to see the signs, if you've been able to sense, if you've been, you know, on your path and actively working on yourself, you've seen this coming for a while. But here's the thing though, no matter who you are, you're still caught up in this water. You're still caught up in this star, this influence. You're still under these stars and you're breathing this air. So I don't care who you are and how advanced you may think you are and how much you think you know. This is myself included, which is why you shouldn't always take my word for things, all right? You have your own experience and your own story. So you got to go within you to figure out what is it that you need to do, right? So, and what I felt like I needed to do was to make a video at freaking 5 o'clock in the morning. I was already up for a few hours, but I felt the need to do this. So in many ways, it would seem like I'm crushing it. I'm up at 5 o'clock, and this is kind of the time where it's like there's not as much static in the atmosphere because people aren't awake. People are still asleep or they're about to wake up. So the atmosphere is a lot clearer. The thinking channels are a lot clearer because people aren't thinking in that way. It's more subconscious. And this is probably the best time for me anyways because I'm a Pisces moon and a Scorpio in the 12th house. So, you know, this is, I thrive in these times, okay? What I'm trying to say, I'm thriving at times right before the sun comes up. I don't always get up at these times, though. I don't always get up at these times. But And this video is going to be all over the place. So if you're new and you feel like I can't really maintain a point, I promise you I'm going to come back and address everything. This is just the way that this is just kind of the way that I am with these videos. But yeah, you see these people who are, crushing it, all this sort of stuff. And we kind of look at them and we scoff, and then you have regular people that get up and do their regular 9-to-5 jobs, blah 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 blah, whatever. But this year, like I said, is a continuation of 2020, because 2020 was the year where we were emotionally dealing with all this stuff. It was a 4 year. You have 2020, so that's 204. So it was a 4 year, which 4 can mean a couple things. It can mean the 4th house. So it could be, that Cancer energy, that emotional energy. It does have, since it was 2 and 2, it definitely was Cancer energy. But what it was really is that since it netted to a 4, we're talking Aquarius and Uranus energy. So this is about what last year was that the way that people felt was foreign to each other. And for the first time in a long time, people's worlds collided. And people's emotions and the way that they react and respond to the world collided in the most fantastic way. And since it netted to a 4, it was foreign to people. And what you saw was that if people did the work, they were able to kind of open up emotionally and hold that space and be empathic to other people, even if they did not understand their world and where they're coming from. Or you saw people trying to pretty much force their fluid, their influence, their water, that Cancer, that moon, their subconscious, their upbringing. They try to force that onto someone outside of themselves, or someone who's like foreign, who's not really foreign, by the way. It's just somewhere they just grew up in a different household or a different place than you. But we're all still connected. That's one thing that I want to talk about with Uranus, how we're all connected and stuff, and how I believe that Uranus is a great portal, like a quantum portal that's within all of us, that leads to our own star and our own place, but then we're able to visit other people's places and planets. Anyways, but when we visit that place, we appear as an alien. But anyways, I digress. Last year was an interesting year because people's emotions collided in a fantastic way. So you either had people that were able to be open and empathic, or people that kind of closed off. But even within those dichotomies, you have to take it a step further. The people who are open and empathic, they either try to force what they believe was the solution onto other people, or they allow people to find the solution for themselves. That one is mainly and I'm going to take this political because I have to. Because if you think about this being a 4 energy, it can represent, of course, like that Uranus energy, but it can also represent being Cancer. So we have to look at the opposite, Capricorn, the establishment in the 10th house. So what happened was that for the people that where their emotional world collided with someone else's emotional world and all that influence, and they wanted to be more open and empathic, and there was a split within that dichotomy, the people who are more open to it, they try to either force, like I said, what they believed was going to be true and make everyone feel better onto everyone else, or they let them come to it in their own way, but they are so open to it. This dichotomy is mostly seen within the Democratic Party. The Republican Party is the other way. The Republican Party is the other way. This is the people who were not necessarily open. Okay? And there's a split within this one. This one was people who either felt like they got kind of kicked out of their old understanding, of their old home, because maybe they had an old home and then now they really don't agree with it on the inside, so they either got kicked out or they just completely are turned off to any type of empathy or whatever like that. It's a weird thing. It's not that they were just completely non-empathic, whatever like that. It was just that they enjoyed their way of life so much and that they saw nothing wrong with it. So when it started to blow up, they didn't understand. So they even bogged down a little bit tighter. That's what you kind of saw. And there is truth in each of these 4 dichotomies. Okay. There's truth in each of these 4 dichotomies. That part, though, The ones that weren't as open and as empathic, that's more seen in the Republican side. That vibration is more right wing and Republican. Okay. Now, of course, there is some mixing and stuff like that. Of obviously, everyone has various levels of each, but that's kind of what you saw. Me, what I pretty much experienced was kind of almost feeling divorced from my original understanding, because I saw people within that group not using their influence and their power to allow people to come to their own understanding of it. And I was so turned off by it that I kind of went the other way. So that's why I actually voted Republican. And for most of my life, I had, kind of self-identified as a Democrat, despite the fact that I didn't really believe in the system and everything like that. I just felt like I naturally kind of was more left-leaning and stuff. I have a mixture of both, honestly, and these are two wings of the same bird. And what one of the main issues with this dichotomy too, the whole left and right, is that this is a bird that cannot fly without two of its wings. If you try to take off one of his wings, he can't fly. So it's funny how these two sides attack each other. I'm like, guys, we need both of these ideas and ideologies and ways of seeing the world in order to function. That's why there's 12 signs, there's opposites, there's light and dark. There's a reason why we have these things. We talk about it over and over and over again, be it in the spiritual realms or like the spiritual sense and community, or you just see it in movies, TVs, you see it in everything. Okay, like there's a me and there's a you, but we're still connected. So it's like, if I attack you, I'm attacking me and stuff in a way. But we do have to learn how to, like I said, come within ourselves, find out who we truly are, and be open to the teamwork. Because here's the thing, guys. If you want to think of it as like a sort of, let's see if there's a way I'm going to see if I can pull something up to kind of give you like an idea of what this looks like, because like, see if I can find like a decent like kind of image of what I'm looking. Oh, here we go. This is perfect. This is exactly what I'm thinking of right here. So I'm going to share this. That bird is not a phoenix like us. That's the other thing about it too, though, is that generally this bird, if we think about it, is actually the eagle, and the eagle is meant to like, because when it comes to this, see, I understand this energy very well. This is why I know I've been around for a while, and I also in past lives knew the founding fathers. I wasn't a founding father, but I was friends with George Washington and stuff like that way back in the day. Okay. All right. So this is like, I didn't get a lot of like, I guess some of the information knowledge that they knew, like, but I was friends with them still. So it's interesting. I haven't just quite uncovered exactly what my relationship was with them. I know I was friends with George Washington. I know I knew him like at a friend level, more than an acquaintance. But this bird that we're talking about is an eagle. And if you think about the eagle and its aspects, there's a couple of signs that the eagle kind of represents. It represents Aries and it represents Scorpio. It represents Scorpio because it's actually, if you look, of course, at like, what is it? The world card, it has, the fixed signs on there. And then you have the eagle, which represents Scorpio. The eagle is the middle stage, though, between the scorpion and the dove. The phoenix is like an overarching type. In fact, phoenix energy really kind of, it goes from Scorpio, Sagittarius, and a little bit into Capricorn, although Capricorn is more like the nest. Sagittarius is more like the phoenix, like flying down, and then Scorpio is just like, it's like the whole, like, it's kind of plays out forwards and backwards in a way. It's kind of interesting how to describe it. But this bird that they're talking about is an eagle. All right. So the eagle, of course, is a symbol of America, right? You know, you see the eagle on the flag and everything like that, right? So it's this beautiful regal bird. And what the funny thing is that I think there are more eagles in Canada. So I think, I don't know, but it's this beautiful, majestic bird. And ironically, my favorite team is the Philadelphia Eagles in football. So, and of course, they're in Philadelphia, where America was born. I don't understand why we're not America's team. I don't know why it's Dallas. I think we like the idea of the cowboy and going west and stuff like that. But America is the Eagle, Philadelphia, whatever. Anyways, I digress. I'm a little salty. Okay. There's actually this passage right here. And the reason why, so it's Scorpio because of that reason, the traditional sense, but it's also Aries. And I came into this understanding on my own by discovering that the eagle was actually a totem animal of Aries energy. You think it'd be Scorpio, and there's eagle-like influence within Scorpio, but it's actually Aries. And what's Aries? Aries is the individual. Aries is, your personality. In many ways, it can't kind of be your ego, but that's really what it is. It's your character. It's who you are. That's what Aries is. It's that action. It's cardinal fire. It's that spark, that initiation, that pop into the world. That's Aries. You pop onto the scene and stuff like that, right? So, like I said, the eagle is a totem animal of Aries. And I want to read to you all this passage in here. If inside the degrees, this is a interesting book right here. Let's see, where is it? I know, is it? Because there's a passage in here that talks about a two-headed eagle, and I just thought that was so crazy. And I want to say it was Aries, but maybe it's not Aries in here. But I swear I thought I saw something about an eagle. Oh yeah, here it is. It's Aries 7 degrees. Okay, so a double-headed eagle. The heads face in opposite directions. That is pretty much like this whole American politics thing. All right, it's at 7 degrees, so it's Neptune, so it's about beliefs, right? And it's about the belief of who we are. So anyone who has any planet or sun or whatever like that at Aries 7 degrees, there's some sort of dichotomy with the belief of who we are, like on an individual level. So I don't know if I gotta look at America's chart and stuff like that. But I do I'm kind of interested to see what's around that degree. But like I said, these two wings fight each other. These two sides that are fighting each other, Republican, Democrat, or it could be whatever it is. Each of them have their own head, so they're only looking at one side. They can't even see the other side. They can't even see that they're part of another bird. It's like they're pretty much two birds mixed into one. A double-headed eagle, the heads face in opposite directions. Two completely separated identities can be lived at once. Do you hear that? What is foremost is to be mentally prepared, vigilantly watchful, and intent upon moving straight on and not looking back. Your alter ego, your double, your nemesis, shadow, and friend is seeing life through the rearview mirror, completely enwrapped in the diametrically opposite world to the one consciously pursued. The forefront awareness sustains admirably and avidly in directional instincts for which way is forward from here. Your subconscious shadow self is equally devoted to seeing, knowing, and instrumenting the backward gaze, the obstructive momentum. Living along the edge hones the sensibility, clarifies things immensely. If ever both ends are claimed and honored and given their due, it is a challenge and an adventure to be rapidly dual, a karmic crossroads with immense struggle and conflict of power. It contains a deep down gnawing hunger for resolution, a reconciliation, and integration, so elusive, so unattainable, and yet so needed and sought in destiny reckoning that refuses to stay split, whatever it will take to fuse the bipolar visions into unity. That is Aries 7 degrees. It is literally like it's like an eagle tried to split into two, and then the process stopped midway. So it has 2 wings, 2 heads. You get the picture. And it's these 2 different ideologies and these 2 different worlds kind of erupting out of the same thing. It's like the cells was beginning to split and then it stopped halfway. So it's like there's a sense of having your own spirituality and your own sense of self, but you're still connected to something else. And there's like this whole, it's like a Venn diagram. There's this little part in the middle that we're trying to figure out. That is what last year was about. Last year was about realizing that we are this double-headed eagle within each of ourselves and like the world at large in our societies and communities and stuff like that. So when these 2 worlds collided or really became aware of each other, that's really what it is. It's not like the world, it's not like these realities collided because they needed each other to exist in the first place, because this eagle can't fly without the other side, even if it's not aware of it, right? So it's really more of like we are aware that we sort of were attached to this other side. And we may see it as an abomination, because if you saw a 2-headed eagle, but it still shared like the same body and stuff like that, you would think it was an abomination. So that's what we kind of saw 2020 as an abomination. How could we have manifested this sort of reality where we'll just say two diametrically opposed ways at viewing the world coexisted this whole time, but wasn't coexisting in harmony, which has caused all the strife and stuff. So that in many ways what we're dealing with. What 2021 is going to be is that it's going to add the 1 to it. It is taking the 0 after that. You have the 20 and then you have the next 20 and the 1. So if we want to think about it from that state, it's about injecting our own unique individuality and allowing ourselves to express that through our heart space with the 1, the sun, the Leo, you are the 1, and expressing that. This was about, in many ways, what we're going to experience with the 2020s is that the first 20 in many ways can be like kind of like yourself. If you want to split 20 and 20, you want to split it up, you have the first one, which is you have the 2, the emotions, and then you have a 0, which is about protecting something. It's like a cosmic egg, if you will. Then you have the other person, the other 2, and their emotions and how you're relating that, and then you have a 1. We are still protecting what we are going to create, or this new world, if you will. But what is going to happen is that if we are open to other people, and if we're empathic and we're truly trying to understand other people and understand, is that we will allow them to express who they are through their heart space, their individuality. We will allow them to express who they are, okay? And we will allow them to exist in their space and be peaceful within that space, without feeling the need to overly influence it ourselves. Now, some people are going to do that. Some people are going to be able to take these energies that happened in 2020, really make something of themselves in 2021 and forward, and then they're going to feel like it's getting taken away from them. Because someone's own world and idea is going to be, they're going to feel like it's threatened. And I'm going to break this down even more, because it's not only about, when we think about like numerology and numbers and gematria and stuff like that, it's also like the placeholder that's important. So when you think of 2020, 2020 was a huge 4 year. You literally had four numbers. So you had that energy, and then you have it adding up to a 4. So it was a very foreign year for a lot of people. It was a year that just came completely out of left field. This was Uranus energy. It came totally out of left field, right? People were literally collided with other influences, other realms, other spheres of water, stars. And it's like, wow, this existed this whole time? I didn't know that. It's crazy, right? And what you're experiencing is that there are some people that do think they know what's best for everyone. And I think we all have that energy. It's just, how are we going to express that? Are we going to express it by, if I think I know what's best for everyone, maybe I should try it on myself first. And that's what this year is about. The main issue with it is that because this adds up to a 5, you have 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 1. So while there is more of a sense of individuality and uniqueness in people expressing their passion and that sun-like energy with that 1, since that's going to come out more this year, you want to see more of it. You want to see people that were in their cosmic egg of that 0, and you want to see it come out more. It's going to come out in you too. You're going to kind of mostly see it reflected, though, in things outside of you, because the 1 is in the 4 placeholder. It's in the Uranus placeholder. So it may seem like it's unique or outside of you, but really it's actually you too. And if you find yourself, this is why it's really important to surround yourself with like-minded people. Why? Because this is next to a 5. We're talking about Mercury energy. We're talking about the mind. Surrounding yourself with like-minded people. If you surround yourself with like-minded people in 2021, you are going to crush it. Whether you actually surround yourself with these people or you utilize the technology that we have. Because the great thing about 2020 is that it was an awesome year for collaboration as well. And if you take this energy into the new year, you'll be able to collaborate with more people that are like-minded like you. And, allow kind of like your unique self and that love and that passion and really that inner child to come forward. Because in many ways, when I think of Leo, I do think of the child. I do think of that sun child, that star child, the inner child. I think of that energy quite a bit. So, but because it's a 5-year, what's going to happen is that now that these worlds have collided, these spheres have collided, these emotional spheres or these ideologies or these worlds that's seemed, diametrically opposed, but they're really not. What you're going to see is people utilizing communication to either uphold someone's own sense of, I guess, love, passion, stuff like that. People upholding it, whether they agree with it or not, you're going to need to see people upholding it or people trying to say, no, I think I know it's better. There's going to be a lot of mental manipulation. Last year, there was a lot of emotional manipulation. This year's going to be a lot of mental manipulation. So for those of you that, and mental health is going to probably be, because last year, in many ways, a lot of it was about physical health, of course. And mental health, we started to talk about that more. This year, mental health is going to be one of the most talked about topics. I'm telling you, mental health is going to be one of the most talked about topics. You're going to see more people go into the mental health field and actually change it too. Because that 1 is in the 4th spot of 2021, they're going to be the people that enter the mental health field and completely change it forever, right? So, and what's really going to happen is that this year is just going to show the mental health crisis that we are already in. You're going to see people who are easily influenced by communication. And you have to be wary about the communication that you eat, that you devour, that you consume. So you're going to see more propaganda this year. You're going to see more, censorship. You're going to see more of this sort of stuff that happen. You're going to see more people getting silenced and stuff like that. You're going to see more. You're going to see more cancel culture, believe it or not. Yeah, you're going to see more of this stuff this year. But the people that crush it this year are going to be the people that still express who they are uniquely, no matter what. So here's the thing. 2020 saw the end of a lot of things. A lot of people's lives got completely shifted. Everyone's lives got shifted forever. But a lot of people's lives got dramatically shifted forever. If you happen to be one of those people or people that didn't really do much for 2020 because they had to stay at home because they lost their job, stuff like that, or they weren't doing that much, you can still crush it this year. Even if you're not doing the job that you did before, or you might have to do something else, you can crush it. You can either find a job that, really truly resonates with you anyways, or if you happen to be in a position where you can't really go out due to the various laws of wherever you live, right? Whatever your local community is, That's another thing I'm going to talk about here. You can still crush it. You can do something. You don't have to just sit home and watch Netflix all day. You can do something. You can start ordering some stuff, some crafts, and start putting things together. You can write that book that you've been wanting to write. You can do something. And this is going to be a year about really putting one step in front of the other, because there's not really a get rich quick scheme energy with this year, despite the fact that Bitcoin's going up. But Bitcoin is just a precursor, which is, I think Bitcoin is obviously necessary. This is Uranus and Taurus, but Uranus is in the beginning degrees of Taurus. Like, we haven't reached the new value system, and so we're not going to reach it until Uranus hits the later degrees of Taurus. We're talking like the 20s and stuff like that. And it's just in the beginning degree, so Bitcoin is just the precursor. We're not going to really see what that new system is until Uranus pretty much leaves Taurus, but definitely gets into the higher degrees of Taurus, right? Right now, it's just in the first degrees of Taurus, and it's going to be squaring Jupiter this year, so there's going to be some challenges with that. It's going to be squaring Saturn as well, so there's going to be some challenges with that as well. So we got a while before that whole thing maybe like takes over, whatever like that. But you're going to see some stuff. This is going to be a year where you can crush it no matter what your circumstances are. Whether you happen to still retain your job and stuff like that. If you've been fortunate enough to retain your job this whole time, you can either crush it in that particular job if you really like hone down, or you can, kind of make your own way, or even maybe start up your own job, whatever like that, start up your own business and stuff like that, this may seem like a very crazy time to start up your own business, but this could also kind of benefit you in a sense if you can utilize this energy and kind of flip it on its head, So, and the other thing about this too, with there's going to be a lot of mental manipulation this year. There's going to be a lot of that sort of stuff going on. You're going to see mental health. I'm telling you, that's going to be such a huge thing because it's a 5-year. The other thing about it is that when you think about 5, you think about, you have 5 fingers, you have 5 fingers on one hand and 5 toes. So it's like, it's in many ways, like I said, even though you need the 10 ultimately, I can do a lot with just one hand. People live without one hand or one foot or whatever, and they're able to do it. Yes, it's nice to have both. So I think that's why both sides of this double-headed ego or eagle, or these ideologies, maybe you can even say people that live in rural communities versus people that live in the city, there is a sort of divorce, but there's also this sort of meeting ground. That's the word suburban thing. But it's like people have been able to live without appendages. So it's possible to do that. And there's like a sort of freedom that comes with being able to grab things. Being able to grab things, at least that's what scientists say, is how we've been able to come as far as we can. Because we've been able to grab and move and build things. This is going to be a year about building things too. Using your hands, kind of getting a little dirty and building things. So it's not going to be an energy where it's going to just happen overnight. Now, there are going to be some lottery winners. Jupiter is going to be squaring this energy. The people that win lotteries, though, that you see over this next year, whether they win a lottery and like a big sum of money, or they're winning a lottery as far as like maybe getting the job that they always wanted, or maybe getting put into a situation where they just get so much so quickly, they're going to have the challenge of sort of a lot of the sort of responsibility that comes with getting so much so quickly and it just being sudden. Because Jupiter is about fortune, and Aquarius energy is sudden things, rapid things coming out of left field. And with this squaring, Uranus and Taurus, and Uranus likes, Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, right? There's going to be some people that are able to kind of time skip or jump into a portal and just immediately just get wealthy, or immediately just come into some sort of great fortune. Now, that is going to be a challenge. Now, the squares, people have to look at squares as a bad thing. So this doesn't mean that, some people, might lose more money. People are going to lose more money. Some people might even make more money. And you're going to see a lot of people that are going to utilize influences and systems to continue to rip off the small man and small businesses and stuff. Anyways, but you're also going to see more people that utilize this energy and give back as well. So the people that won the lottery over this next year, especially, there's going to be the challenge of the responsibility of what happens when you suddenly come into wealth, when you suddenly come into so much. You're going to have a lot of people that suddenly come into a lot. Okay, there's a lot of people that have a lot of money and will continue to make more money, right? But you're also going to have a lot of people that just suddenly come into wealth and suddenly come into things. And there's going to be the challenge of what to do with all that. Whether it's like maybe you make a viral video and you suddenly just gain some like so many subscribers, or just anything like that. You find yourself suddenly getting a job and you're the boss of like 50 or 100 people, you know, like that could be a big change. And that's a challenge. But through challenges, you get there's a lot of reward that comes to the challenges and stuff like that too. So there's going to be that sort of energy. The way that you crush it in 2021 is by putting one step in front of the other and never giving up. No matter what happens, no matter how many times you might fall down, even if you feel like you may lose that particular day or that particular challenge or that particular whatever, to just keep going anyways and to keep coming back and to almost sort of be a little pesky. That's why it's like, when I say pesky, it's sort of like we're going to be moving from the year of the rat to the year of the bull or the ox, and it's going to be metal too. So I'm a metal sheep, so I get the element. It's just, you know, like I said, it's not obviously like, you know, the animal. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about the you know, like the Chinese zodiac, the great race, if you will. The rat, we were in the year of the rat. Amazing how we're in the year of the rat. And rats, you know, they were thought to have brought the bubonic plague, and then we got this new plague and stuff like that. You also have a lot of ratty-like energy kind of exposed. But the great thing about the rat, too, because the rat gets a lot of flack, and I used to have pet rats at one point, and they're super cute. The rat is super intelligent. And rats are actually used by the military to like locate like, you know, landmines and detonations, stuff like that. So one good thing about the year of the rat is that if you utilize it correctly, if you weren't necessarily just sneaky and didn't do any work, but you kind of rode off the coattails of someone else and then jumped off at the last second and won, you know, you had that energy. But you also had the energy of where it was almost sort of like intelligence gathering, where because you were so small, you're able to kind of sneak through the cracks and almost sort of be like a glitch in the system, and also go back and let people know, like, hey, this is what's coming. This is what's ahead. We should find a different way. That's the other cool thing about the rat. So, you know, while the rat may not have like the speed of the ox, obviously, because the ox is just so much bigger, that's the reason why. I don't know if proportionally, like pound for pound, if the rat is faster than the ox. That would be kind of an interesting thing to know about, if that even makes any sense. But since this is the year of the metal ox, since it's the metal part, that metallic, this in many ways, there's going to be a lot of alchemy with this year, being able to take something and to make it shiny, you know? So there is going to be a sort of rags to riches kind of energy with this energy, but I feel like it's going to be more sudden because of the whole Jupiter aspect. But a lot of it is going to be people who are self-made and put one foot in front of the other. The ox is reliable and sturdy and help to plow the fields. That's what the bull does. That's what the ox does. It's to help plow the field, right? The other thing about it too is that it's sort of like getting something dangled in front of your face and sort of being like, yo, you want this, you want this, you want this, and then you actually get it. And then sometimes you actually are made to feel bad about it. And this dichotomy is the whole like bullfighting. You know, there's going to be a bullfighting kind of energy where someone's kind of hanging like a red cape in front of your face, and they may get the best of you. Things may seem a little out of reach. It's kind of like trying to catch the oxtail. It's like every time you feel like you got the truth, the oxtail is just like it's like a golden oxtail, just kind of like, it's like a parable, I think. It's like, right, it's like you're trying to catch truth and you look around the corner and all you see is the oxtail. That's going to be sort of like this energy. So it's going to be some sort of energy where you may feel like you are the ox and you're trying to get, because you don't like the color red, right? So you're going to try and get this thing, right? But then you're made to feel bad when you've been provoked and prodded so much, and then you actually gore the matador and kill him. So there's going to be this energy where people have been putting one step in front of the other and have been making something of themselves. And when they actually get the thing that provoked them and kill it, they're going to be actually demonized. So you're going to see that kind of energy too. You're going to see an energy where people may seem like they suddenly come into power, but they've been working at it and working at it and working at it and working at it and working at it, putting one step in front of the other, and then they're going to kind of rise to a sort of prominent. You're going to see this sort of play out. I'm not sure exactly who's going to exhibit it, but you'll see someone that kind of just seemed like they rise to power suddenly. But then it's really that this person has been provoked and they've just been working on their craft to getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And then when they finally bite and when they finally gore that thing that has been like dangling in front of their face and they kill it, they're going to be seen as the villain. But you poked the bull, so you kind of fucking deserve it, you asshole. Okay? There's going to be that kind of energy too with this year. So now, take with that what you will. Some of you may feel like you kind of have to kill certain, that's actually a good thing. That's actually a good way to think about it. Think about it as killing certain routines or certain, patterns. If you're putting one step in front of the other, that's a pattern. So maybe you've been walking a pattern or a daily routine, or you've been doing something that hasn't really been working the way that you want. So this is like your time to actually kill that thing. And the way that you kill it is by working at it every single day and just building up that strength. So, or at least just definitely having that consistency and putting one step in front of the other. The other thing about the ox is that the ox does like to kind of chill out and stuff. The bull kind of likes to chill out and stuff like that in the field. So there's going to be this sort of Taurus kind of vibe with it as well, because I kind of see them kind of interchangeably and stuff. Rest when you need to, because there's definitely going to be this spirit of this year to where, last year was so crazy, and a lot of these challenges are going to continue and even evolve in this year. But are we going to let that completely stifle us, or are we going to just charge forward anyways? That's kind of what's going on. The light just flickered major. Really? My light didn't. I don't know if my light flickered. Wasn't my light that flickered? I don't know if it was. So be the bull. So if there's a pattern in your life that you feel like you need to kill, then this is going to be that sort of energy where you probably need to kill that pattern. And you may even feel like the bad guy to yourself. There may be, because you've been protected by this thing too. So, it's like you've been doing this for such a long time. It's what you know, and it's like deep in your subconscious now. It's like ingrained in you. But then in order for you to progress, in order for you to crush, in order for you to evolve, grow, you kind of have to kill it. You kind of have to destroy that thing. And you have to really go deep within yourself and express your unique authenticity. So I feel like this is sort of like this is a year where we definitely have a great excuse not to crush it, because we saw what happened with 2020. It blindsided us, and now we're dealing with, of course, with the aftershocks of this. Because 2020 doesn't just end at 2020. These energies carry over, especially because the planets didn't just jump into a new sign. Well, some planets did, but not all planets just jumped to a new sign. So these energies are still carrying over. So we have very valid excuses to not crush it this year. And not everyone's going to crush it, but I think everyone's going to crush it in some way. I honestly think so. It's just, it may be very subtle for some people, or maybe in ways that they don't necessarily get. There are going to be mental breakthroughs, emotional breakthroughs, physical breakthroughs, spiritual breakthroughs. You're going to have a lot of different breakthroughs. Why? Because out of that last zero in 2020, a one will be born. One will be broken out of. So that can be literally the sperm going into the egg, or that you coming out of that womb, you coming out of that zero, out of that holding cell, if you will. And cell in this way is not a prison, but it kind of like it is like a holding cell, a cell. It's a parameter. Okay, so you're going to see people break out of certain parameters, and you're going to see people, like I said, some people are going to actually lose it more. Some people are just going to just straight lose it, honestly, because they have been protecting their way of thinking, their way of life for such a long time, and now this is actually going to be like a breaking point for a lot of people, which is why it's very important that we had to go through 2020 so we can learn how to empathize with people. There are going to be people, though, that are going to try to enforce what they believe is best for everyone, and they're going to just like rev this shit up. You're going to see that, right? And you're going to have people tell other people what's best for them, and they don't even live in the same community. That's the other thing about this that's so huge, is the community aspect, because 5, is Mercury energy and Gemini energy. This is the community. This isn't necessarily the country. This is the community. This is your local town. So what you're going to see is that some people are going to kind of go back to their town. You're going to see some people actually go back home, because if Sagittarius represents foreign lands, in the North Node and Gemini, that's kind of what you're familiar with, like your home and your community. You're going to see people go back home, actually, in a sense. You're going to see people care more about the local community, local politics, local governance, local ways of doing. People are going to get more involved in that, and are going to realize the importance of that, because we are in a 5 Gemini year, and they're going to realize that the narrative that they see in their community doesn't always match the national or international narrative, and that's okay. You want to know why it's okay? I'm going to share my screen real fast. Let's see. This is what I'm talking about right here. You remember that double-sided ego? I keep saying ego, but eagle that I'm talking about? How these different worlds can come together, but they can still all be connected still, right? This is what we have to learn, okay? That we can all be in harmony, and we can also be connected, but we don't have to necessarily be next to each other. We can be on opposite sides of the spectrum, but we can still all be one and still protect this earth. Because look, they're protecting the earth. We can protect this because we're all in this thing, okay? We are actually meant to be the guardians of this world. And we have not acted in accordance with what our true birthright is, and that is to be the guardians of this world. And we can do that, but we can't, like, little Johnny here can't necessarily tell Susie, that, the way that he sees to live life has to exactly match up to hers, right? And then, for all the same, then we can protect the world that way. No, Susie knows what's best for right here. Johnny knows what's best for right here. Timmy knows what's best for right here. And they can all work together, because these people, they resonate more with each other, right? They resonate more with each other. It's a spectrum. It's a spectrum, guys. You're going to see, and this is going to go down, from the international level to the country level to the, state level, counties, cities, so forth. You're going to see that more. The way to crush it is to learn how to have more mental strength. And when I say string, I don't mean strain. I mean strength. Having strength it's not like you're just holding on to something, right? This is not like some sort of tug of war. This is about being strong when you're called to do so. All right. This is about, knowing when to chillax, because if you think about it, if you think about a lot of these strong animals, a lot of times a lot of people think of the lion, right? Okay, but the lion just chills out most of the time. Like male lions, especially, like they don't necessarily be like. First of all, they'd be taking a lot of the credit for what the lionesses do, but that's beside the point. But they still protect, and they still fight and stuff like that. They fight when they have to. So you're going to see a lot of people that are going to be fighting battles that they don't really have any business fighting because it doesn't have anything to do with them. You're going to have people fighting battles in other places that have nothing to do with them because they don't know these people and they don't know their customs. What unites us is that we're all human and that we actually have the ability to communicate. This is why we can even communicate with people that we don't understand their language. That's the other thing about it. You may not necessarily know someone's language, but you can still communicate with them. Like if you like think about this. If you go up to a foreign like someone from another country and don't speak their language, or you punch them, you're communicating to them that you're a threat, and they'll perceive you as a threat, and they may punch you back. Or you hug them, or kiss them, or you smile, or do the different things. There's other ways to communicate besides, talking in language and stuff like that. So you're going to see that. One of the ways to crush it this year is to work on your mental health and to become mentally stronger and mentally able to kind of navigate these, what will I call them? These radio waves, these mental waves, these sort of like these things that the people are going to put out. You're going to see a lot of propaganda this year and a lot of narratives. And the way that you crush it this year is being able to mentally navigate these. We learned how to emotionally navigate. We were learning how to emotionally navigate this last year, right? Okay. Now we're going to have to learn how to mentally navigate this. And depending upon how well you did last year and stuff like that, which last year was just yesterday, honestly, but it was crazy. It was so crazy. So much stuff happened. And we're all still kind of dealing with it. I kind of see this as like, I kind of feel like this is like the year where we just we wake up on the beach and we just went through like a giant storm and we think we're in a foreign land, but we're actually back home. That's kind of what this energy is like. It's like we went on like this crazy adventure and we were like on this ship and we felt like we went around the whole world because we wanted to go to like this new place and we encountered these storms and all this sort of stuff. And we wake up on the beach and for like the first little bit of it, we're going to be kind of delirious. And then we're going to realize that we are actually kind of back home or back in a place that kind of feels like a smaller community or where we kind of came from or familiarity and stuff like that. And learning how to interface with this energy. You're going to see a lot of, since this is a 5-year, well, first of all, a lot of Geminis are going to either be loved or hated, even more so than they are now. That dichotomy is going to become even more intense. And the people that aren't able to see the genius in other people, whether they agree with them or not, are going to have a lot of difficulties this year because that's actually going to be them denying a part of themselves. And this whole new age is about acceptance, accepting who we are, no matter really how it looks, and also still having integrity and personal integrity and learning, you're going to be checked by other people this year. And like we do all the time, people check each other, we play off of each other. We teach each other lessons, that sort of thing. So there are going to be certain ideologies and your mentality and the way that you think is going to be checked by other people this year, probably in an intense way. And it's going to be intense because it's the sun energy. So it's just going to be but here's the thing about it. It's because it's one energy and it's the sun, it's just inevitable. All right. It's an inevitable thing. Okay. And it's effortless too. It's not, sometimes it feels like the sun can be beating down on us, but it's effortless. Okay. The sun doesn't have to struggle to shine. It just does. And you're going to see people that just suddenly just start to shine in their own unique way. They may do it on a big scale or a small scale. It doesn't have, we can get caught up in how big the star is or not. You're going to start to see people shine. And you can either allow that to motivate you to crush it this year, or you can kind of just be like, oh, they're just another imposter. They're full of hot air. But there's actually going to be something to that energy of kind of trusting and believing in yourself enough to the point to where it's not that you are an imposter or that you're full of hot air or that you're just trying to be like this motivational or inspirational person. It's not that. It's because you're just simply being you. And you'll be surprised at how simply being you affects other people and motivates them, inspires them to become a greater version of themselves. You'll be surprised at how powerful your impact is. It's going to be a very impactful year. It's going to be a year of, there may be some sort of like delayed energy, There's going to be a lot of mental rewiring this year. Mental health is going to be a huge one. I'm going to be talking about mental health a lot, this year. I've been live for an hour. That's crazy. Crazy. I've been live for an hour. That's amazing. But also don't take my word for it too. That's the other way to crush it. Don't take everyone's word for it, including my own. You got to listen to your word, your palabra, your spell. You have to go within you, Find what's in you. Here's the other thing about this that I'm going to be talking about more this year too, is that when it comes to spirituality and beliefs, we all kind of have our own version of a lot of these predominant faiths that run this world and our own archetypes. And this is going to be a year of, if you're really open to it, being reacquainted with those aspects. Because the South Node is in Sagittarius, there is a lot of people that don't really believe, and I'm not to go through this more because I'm learning more about the North and South Node, but there is this challenge with like belief and stuff like that, and the belief that we came from, and then the kind of realm that we're kind of putting ourselves into. But you are literally a community of cells. You're a community of energy. Like if Gemini is the community, you literally are. Like, look at it. Like, this is Gemini. The fact that I have arms on both sides and legs on both sides, and I'm like, that's, so you literally are a community, okay? And believe it or not, there are, if you will, versions of these spiritual archetypes that are within you that no one else really has, okay? It's something that's unique to you. And what's happened is that we are following another man's ideology, and you need to follow your own, and it does and can coexist and will coexist with other people, So we are in the 2020s. When we get to like the 2100s, that's going to be when, we got about, we got a lot of us won't be here. Some of us will be here actually. I guess some of my nephews and nieces will actually make it to the 2100s, which is crazy. That's going to be interesting when we actually get to the 2100s, because then that first zero turns into a one. So that means that each of our influences are, the waters, that, the 2 with the Cancer, and then that 0 with the Scorpio and the guarding. There's going to be this incredible blossoming that's going to happen within each individual person. Like, it's already happening now, but you're going to kind of see it play out a little bit more. You're going to see it played out a little bit more on the world stage, stuff like that. Or like these sort of out there concepts, because the one right now occupies the 4th position and not the 2 position. The 4th position, as far as like 2020, it's the 4th, number, in that this creativity, this expression, this love may seem like it comes from way out there, but it's really in here because it's quantum. You can access it simply by just closing your eyes. You can visit anywhere in the known universe simply by closing your eyes and imagining yourself to be there. That's a very crazy energy, and we'll learn more about it. Uranus and Neptune taught us that, but about how to literally quantum leap to any place in the universe. But once the one reaches in the first 2020, once it reaches that digit, and that's the second one, literally, you're going to see people like, I keep saying that the superheroes are going to come when Pluto hits Aries. Superheroes they'll definitely be here in the 2100s. You will literally have people that can fly around and do this sort of stuff, and actually being able to, like, you'll be able to, like, people can do this, and like you can actually see the energy that they're holding in their hand and fire and stuff like that. And like you know, Avatar, The Last Airbender, that sort of stuff, superheroes. You're gonna see all that stuff in the 2100s. At least that's what I feel. I believe that. I really do. I really do believe that. So because there's going to be so many barriers that we've actually have been able to push past and break through. Why? Because we have 2020, we have 2030, 2040, 2050, 2060. So like we only have broken through, so we have 2000, right? So that's 3 zeros. And then of course you hit the 2010s, right? So we've only broken through, when as far as like the world stage at the last 3 numbers of this 2020, we've only broken through, let's see, what, 1 0 so far? We've only broken through 1 0 and explored it. The 2010s is about that. We've only broken through one, you know, like, I guess you could say paradigm or shift or a parameter. 2020, that was just us realizing, oh, this is a bubble within a bubble, you know? And then that's what this year's going to be about, is almost sort of breaking out of that bubble, you know, but also realizing that you are still connected to this bubble. So how to coexist with this bubble, but still expressing your own unique self, no matter what the circumstances are. That's how you crush it this year. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. We have Skywalk, Trees, and then Aquarian Essence. Thank you guys so much for joining. This is amazing. It really is. I should wake up early and do these more often, but you know, I have to be like on my days off, something like that. Maybe I can do this like on one of my days off or something like that. Like wake up early and do like a video like this or something. So we talked about a lot in this video, and it's getting quite long and stuff. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I know I kind of talked about quite a bit. And another way to crush it this year is to, when you're called to do something, and it's just like really, just do it, honestly. If you're called to do something, do it. And generally, the quicker that you act, the better it'll be. And this is not to say that you want, and this is not, I'm not saying to be impulsive. I'm saying if you are convicted to do something, not necessarily dare to do something. This is not like a sort of, I dare you to jump off that building. That's getting into the whole mental manipulation part, right? I dare you to do this. No, this is like a conviction that comes from the inside, not from the outside, not someone daring you to do something or kind of waving the flag in front of your face. There's going to be a time and a place to take on those dares and to beat those dares down, and even to kind of kill those things or people that dared you. Don't actually kill anybody, all right, guys? But you know what I mean, right? There's going to be a time to kind of like a knuck if you buck kind of energy. You don't always want to do that, right? So knuck if you buck energy. There's going to be a time and a place to just hold back, and there's going to be a time and a place to just like get off me, you know? There's going to be a time and place for that. But this is going to be a year, like I said, where if you are really convicted to do something and it's coming from inside of you, and it's not a dare coming from someone outside of you, it's coming from inside, you know, that God force that is coming through you, you know, your heart, your soul. If you think about something, do it. And the faster that you do it, the quicker that you do it, the quicker that you respond to it, no matter how it fucking looks. Because you got to think about this too, guys. Because we're doing a 5 energy and Gemini energy. This is the Magi. You're mixing things. You're not going to create the masterpiece overnight. You got to get messy. You got to get paint all over you. You got to get dirty, right? And it doesn't matter. It's like you may get like, oh, I had this idea to write this cool book. but you know, I haven't been writing a lot. I didn't go to school for this. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I have the credentials. Don't make yourself feel like an imposter because you haven't done something. If you're convicted to do something and you really want to do it and you just feel inspired by it, go for it. Doesn't matter if it's foreign to what you've done before, and there's still going to be some of that energy. It doesn't matter something that you've never done before. It's probably something that you've always wanted to do. You just haven't done it yet. So it's like dares, be more wary of dares this year. But conviction, if something comes through and you're really truly convicted to do something, no matter how big or small, like I thought about making this video. I was like playing Madden, playing video games, and listening to YouTube videos. And in the middle of the YouTube, and like I was just thinking, I was like, you should go make a video on how to crush in 2021. And then literally within minutes, I was in here setting up my camera and everything. All right. You want to tap more into that kind of energy. It's like I felt convicted to do this, and I just did it. You know, so it's that kind of energy. School of Hard Knocks is schooling enough. Exactly. I could talk forever. I could keep going. I could honestly just keep going and stuff like that. But like I said, hopefully you got some kind of nugget of information out of here. And like I said, don't take my word for it. Like I said, a lot of people are going to just read this title and they're going to roll their fucking eyes. If you even make it to this point of the video, whether you watched it live or you, you know, were open enough to receiving this message, or at least some parts of this message, and able to work it into your life, dope. Now you are one of the real ones. You are, and I'm going to just say it straight up like that. You are one of the real ones. And if you don't, that's cool too. You know, I'm not like I said, don't take my word for it, whatever like that and stuff. And I'm not going to really be super like butthurt over that either, because for too long I have really cared about what other people think about me, and I think it's something that a lot of people have to deal with, but I've cared a lot about what people think about me. I really have. And it's something that I've been struggling with for a while, like really truly expressing who I really am. And I noticed that, when I look back, on my childhood and stuff like that, and where I came from and stuff like that, I was able to kind of be like a chameleon and kind of blend into a lot of different things. And I'm finding that, there are certain people, some people I do, of course, keep in contact with and stuff like that, but I held back a lot of who I was because I knew I was weird as fuck. I have Uranus on my North Node, okay? I know I'm weird, okay? Right? But a lot of times, and then what happened is that, I was like, I knew I was weird, and then I grew up and I found more weird people, and then suddenly being weird was like in. I'm like, ew, I don't want to be weird anymore. So I tried to be normal, and I suck at it. That was what my 20s was just like realizing, oh crap, being weird is like in now. Fuck, I don't want to be weird anymore. I just wanted to see if I could try and be normal. And there were some lessons in that, and there's some great things that came out of that. And some of those lessons I'm going to take and carry with me into my 30s. But I'm also going to just really show you how weird and out there I actually am, and not going to care as much what people think about it, and I'm just going to do what I do and still, of course, go through those lessons, because I'm not going to just stop caring. I'm just going to care less. And I think it's because, we all want to be perceived a certain way, and we all want acceptance. I think that's really what it comes down to. It's like we all want to be accepted. There's this whole energy of, wanting to feel like you belong to something. And we do belong to this planet, but we have to kind of go back to the communities that we belong to, the people that we belong to, and the real us that we belong to. Because a lot of us have been acting in ways that isn't truly us, and we don't belong to that energy because it's not natural. And that's a lot of the strife that we're experiencing in ourselves, in the world at large, as these energies kind of reflect out, as above, so below, as within, so without. So everything that we see that's happening in the world is happening within us too. So going back to one of my earlier points, the whole kind of understanding your inner lore, understanding your inner spirituality and these different dichotomies, how they're reflected within you. A lot of you guys are going to actually know the names of some of these beings that live within you. Okay. Yeah, exactly. We're going there. Learning the names of the beings and spiritual beings that live within you that have particular hierarchical positions and stuff like that, and their different challenges. And you're going to learn how to work with these energies and these beings more. Okay. That's another thing. But this is really, the way that you crush in 2021 is learning to accept who you are, putting one foot in front of the other. And no matter what happens, no matter what circumstances come up, you can always find a way. You can always find a way. Because in many ways, if you think about the nodal axis, yeah, traditional, you think of like the north node is where you're going to, the south node is where you're coming from. We need both of these energies. It's not, you can't just completely, put aside the south node. You can't do that, because in many ways what happens is that you come from your south node and you go into the foreign territory of your north node and you utilize your north node to create a sort of better south node, or you sort of recreate your south node, but in a way where you kind of, at least in your way, in your mind, or you want to at least fix or sort of upgrade a lot of what you experience. So this could be like, say, I'll just take myself for an example. I have south node in Cancer and I have the north node in Capricorn. This is my 8th and 2nd house. So for me, this is about learning to where I came from. The south node in 8th house was, like I said, south node in 8th house Cancer is coming from a family that I definitely saw such great value in it, and this or sort of shared resource that we all have, where we were all powerful beings, and I saw us as a powerful family. Although a lot of times, at least in a lot of my imaginations playing around, I was really the only one who has superpowers in my dreams, in these like little fantasies that play in my head. And a lot of times I was protecting my family. I think that's what it comes down to, because since this was the 8th house and this is Scorpio, a lot of times I felt like I had to protect my family, and I was like this superhero, whatever like that. In many ways, what happened is that since I came from that and then I left, and then of course my family, at least the way I saw it for a while, and I've seen it for a while, is that it's pretty much just, it feels like it's destroyed, because my parents got divorced, pretty ugly. I'll probably talk about that more later, but it felt like it was kind of effectively destroyed, and it's like now it's almost like I have family to go back to, and I'm fortunate enough to still be able to call my dad, my mom, my sister, my brother. It just won't look like it did before. A lot of the memories I have growing up, we're all together. It's not going to go back to that, and I have to deal with that, and that's like a tough thing to deal with. So then you're thrown into your north node, which is foreign territory, and you have to kind of learn these different things. And you can take it to the degree where you just like consume and eat and just forget about where you came from, or you can kind of ride that dragon energy, or you can ride that north node energy, and you can sort of even come back to where you came from, but like recreate it. So for me, Capricorn 2nd house, this is about, in many ways, creating my own legacy and something I can kind of be proud of, but also just, knowing my own worth and my value, and creating my own empire around that, and then kind of bringing that back home. So, this is about me, I guess you could say. I'm just kind of it's about me kind of accepting what happened in my past and my family and stuff, and realizing that it's not going to go back to the way it was before, and embracing more, coming into this, realizing my worth and my value, and kind of creating my own empire and creating my own legacy off of that. And then kind of, since the things that I felt like I was robbed of was being able to go back home during the holidays when I had kids. What I felt like I was robbed of is that I'm not going to know what it's like, at least I don't know, unless my parents like make up somehow and at least be our friends. I'm not going to know what it's like to be able to go home and bring my kids to grandparents' house. Like, I'll still be able to bring it home, but it won't be with my mom and dad. It'll be separate. And it's always like moving around from one place to another. And like the holidays are all split up because so many families to visit, because my wife, her parents are also divorced. Her birth parents are also divorced. So I felt like I was robbed of that because that's something I really wanted. But I can create that. That's what I can do, right? So this is going to play out, of course, differently for everyone, So it's like the South Node in Sagittarius right now. It's like in a world, like on a world stage, in many ways, we're kind of doing this, but we're also doing this on the individual. Is that like we kind of came from a belief, and it's like now that we're kind of gone into, I guess, the Gemini energy or the mental realms or the community, or like I've been saying, kind of learning about who you are, you will be able to learn a lot more of these archetypes. Because when you think of Sagittarius, I do think of like you have the galactic center point and like the story and the lore and the characters and these spiritual archetypes. A lot of it kind of I feel like begins in Sagittarius. As far as like, because I mean it's fire, so there's that sort of energy. So in many ways, this is sort of like the character of a lot of the gods and the goddesses, stuff like that. That's sort of like you're getting into the upper zodiac, So you're getting into that energy anyways. But in many ways, that's their personality. You're actually going to start to come more into, especially as the South Node reaches it's been in the 20s, right? So now it's getting into the teens, and it's going to get into the single digits. We all are going to pretty much come into contact with sort of spiritual archetypes or beings that live within us that are we kind of have a somewhat of a reflection outside of us that can seem similar. Like, just for example, I'm not going to give the name, but I kind of have my own version of Jesus, if you will. And this is something that I did publish one time, a long time ago, in like a short story, but I didn't realize what I was doing at the time. And then I ended up taking it off because I didn't realize this until like much later anyways, but I took it off because I was done with that website and I ended up, whatever like that stuff. But, that's kind of that sort of energy. So, but in order to do that, you have to go within your community and listen to your body and your cells and realize that your body is not just the physical body, it's also the mental body. So what are you consuming? What are you putting in your mental body? And how's your mental body processing these things? What are you putting in your emotional body, your spiritual body, stuff like that? But especially you're going to see it more like in the mental body. What are you consuming mentally? What are you putting into your mental body? And these things that you're putting into them, is it efficient? Or are you on the toilet? Are you on the mental toilet for like, do you have mental diarrhea? You know what I mean? Do you have mental constipation? Like it's not flowing, right? Something's wrong. Something's like, yeah, you got to work on that health, So that's going to get a lot of that energy as well. So, man, this was quite a long video, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna end this video with a couple of things. Give me just 1 second. Seeing if it got blue outside yet. I didn't see anything. Leo, come on, buddy. Come on now. All right. This is the secret language of birthdays. This massive book goes into every single day and breaks down a lot about the astrology, tarot, health advice, meditations, the numbers, a lot of things. We're on January 1st. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I might take a picture of this and put this on Instagram. In fact, that might be something I challenge myself to do, is to take a picture of each of these and put them on there. Or I don't know, we'll always talk about it in some way. Anyways, January 1st is the day of the emotional organizer. That's crazy, right? I'm not going to read too much in it, but what I am going to do is I'm going to read two things. I'm going to read the health section because I feel called to do that. And I'm going to read the meditation, right? Because each page has like a bunch of different things. So one of them is like health. So those born on January 1st are apt to suffer from hidden fears and anxieties. To keep themselves from feeling alternatively nervous and depressed, they may find it helpful to seek psychological advice or therapy. Physically, those born on this day may be careful about eliminative problems such as constipation, which can be helped by high fiber foods. I just talked about being on the toilet too, right? um, in water and watch their diets both as to quantity and quality. They are particularly prone to stress-related disease, particularly cardiovascular, and should eliminate smoking if possible. Well, fuck, I like to vape and stuff, so we'll have to work on that one. I don't know. I'm going to start doing more cardio and stuff like that too. But I like to vape. I smoke herb, well, CBD, anyways, hemp flower. But anyways, reducing sugar, unbleached white flour, and animal fat in their diet is essential for good health. January 1st, people should keep active and engage in regular but moderate physical exercise. I think that's the key. Regular but moderate. I think that's something that I really need to work on. Walking and swimming are recommended. I almost think that walking is better than running. I feel like if you just walk, I remember one day I went for a walk, and I went for a walk for like, it was like an hour, hour and a half, and I ended up walking like, I don't know how many miles. It was like 4 or 5 miles. It was one of the best workouts that I've had. I just walked and just had my headphones on, and it was amazing. It was so good, and I didn't think I was going to struggle by just simply walking, because I found myself, there are moments where I didn't want to keep walking. It was weird, but I think anytime it's exercise is anytime that you feel like if you feel some type of struggle and then you overcome it. I feel like that's how you know you had a really good exercise. And generally, once you get tired, once you're struggling and then you get tired, there's a certain threshold where it's like, you're no longer tired. It's like you get the second wind. So this is going to be the year of the second wind, if you will. I feel like this is going to be the year where it's like you may be working on something and you may get tired. You may be putting one foot in front of the other and taking these consistent steps, and you may get tired. But keep going anyways, because you're going to get a second wind, and then eventually just be to the point where you're just gliding and you're in the flow. So, but it's interesting how I addressed fears and anxieties, mental health, because I just talked about that. It talked about constipation. I just talked about being on the mental toilet, right? Reducing sugar. That's a huge freaking one. Cardiovascular health, smoking. We're dealing with a respiratory kind of illness right now. So that's why these things are very important. Yeah. The meditation says it takes two to tango, but it is best to dance together as one. Once again, talking about this whole dichotomy thing, it does take two to tango, but it's best to dance together as one. That's the only way you can really do the tango, right? It's like, what is it about when people dance together, especially professionally, that's just kind of like wow. Like, you see people that dance by themselves, but then if you can find someone to dance with, then that's a really beautiful thing. And this is going to be learning about how to dance with ourselves, learning how our light side can dance with our shadow side and our dark side, and also how two different sides can actually dance with each other. Two sides of the same coin, two sides of the political spectrum, two sides of whatever can dance with each other. Yeah, that's today's. That's January's 1st. And then the other thing I'm going to do, I have my Astro dice. I've been rolling these for the past couple of days to see what we get. So let's see what we get. Blowing it for good luck. All right. All right, guys. We have Mercury, of course, in Taurus, in what is that? The 9th house. Mercury, Taurus, 9th house. Communicating value, believing in the value that we communicate. Believing in the value that we communicate. You will only be an imposter this year if you do not believe in the value that you communicate. And if people don't necessarily get the value that you're communicating, then keep putting that energy out and know that you will attract the right people to it. So it's like, you got to believe what you're saying. You can be a motivational speaker and do a lot of this sort of things, but if you don't actually believe in your value, then it's going to unravel, mainly because the South Node is in the natural 9th house of Sagittarius anyways, right? And like I said, we are in a 5 years, so we get Mercury, and So this is just, we're coming from a 4-year Uranus, which is, in Taurus right now. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a year where if we really believe in the value that we communicate to not only ourselves and others, we will crush it this year. And this is going to take this will of course take trial and error, but this will also just take putting one step in front of the other and getting it done. And yeah, it's sort of like that energy. It's sort of, this is going to sound bad, but it is a sort of pull yourself up by the bootstraps kind of energy, but it is more empathic. It is still more empathetic and stuff like that. There's still this energy of where, like, it's not that you're just telling people, oh, get over it, you can do something about it. I'm not saying that. A lot of people went through very tough times this year. Okay, so I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to be closed off, to that sort of thing. I'm not going to tell them like, oh, just get over what happened. It's going to take us a while to get over what happened, guys. We all lost something during this. Okay, so I'm not gonna be so cold and callous as to say that just get over what happened. It's a lot. That's a lot to get over. That's a big mountain to get over. Okay, guys, it really is. But you can still crush it this year, despite everything that's happened. Even if your worst fears and anxieties presented themselves last year or present themselves this year, you can still make it through that storm, and you can still navigate it. It's about like really knowing who you are, going within yourself and trusting yourself, but also, reaching out to people in your community and putting trust in other people and knowing how to decipher and discern and how to guide what people to be around and stuff like that. We're all going to learn lessons. There's going to be challenges for sure, but trusting those people, trusting the people who are closer to you in your local community. A lot of you guys want to, and there's nothing wrong with going to foreign lands and all that sort of stuff like that, right? But there's a reason why. It's interesting how travel got shut down. Sagittarius is all about travel, and then travel gets shut down, like with South Node and Sagittarius. Duh. But some of you guys are going to find very influential, inspiring, motivational people that may just feel like you've known them for lifetimes. You're going to find people in your local community, people that live in your town or your city or state. I guess you could say country. But you're going to find people that might have lived close to you for years. And you're going to be like, how in the world did we miss each other? Because we are so aligned and we help each other and we make each other stronger. We make each other better. You're also, of course, going to see the antithesis of that. You're going to see people that had the potential to bring it out further than you've might have ever been before. You're going to see the antithesis of it too. But you're also going to, like I said, if you're really open to it, you're going to find people close to you that really do get you on a fundamental soul level. And of course, you're going to want to protect them and protect those kind of relationships and those vibrations and those frequencies. And I think it's really important to become more familiar with what's so close to us. I mean, I live in an apartment building and I don't know too many people that live here. That's kind of sad, really, that I live in a community dwelling and I don't know anyone here on a level like that. When we used to come from, we came from these, we naturally like to be in these close little societies, whatever like that. But we came from small societies, 100, 200 people, and you knew everybody. Now I'm in a community of 100, 200 people, and I don't know anybody. It can feel very isolating. This is going to be the year where you kind of come out of that isolation, and you actually find people that have been right around the corner from you this whole time that are going to, especially if you're walking your path and walking your truth and you're having that integrity and you're putting one step in front of the other and you're crushing it, you're going to come into contact with other suns, other stars. And the reason why I said creating stars is because when I thought about crushing it, I was literally thinking about the Magic School Bus, this episode of the Magic School Bus, and how it was an episode about the creation of stars and stuff like that. And how literally there was this one scene where it showed these two hands that literally did this, and then a star was born. So it was this is going to be a year of refinement. It's going to be a year of, like I said, like you're going to be like you either are refining your craft or you pick up a craft and you start to refine it more. It's going to be it's like an energy of like, yeah, like how like a diamond is formed under a lot of pressure. It gets crushed and crushed and crushed, but it's being refined. So this is going to be sort of like an energy where you may take a bunch of these sort of like misty ideologies, you bring that together in that heat, you bring that together like, you know, with your belief, you communicate your value, you know, and you really feel compelled to do that in your conviction, and yeah, you crush it, and then the star is born. You know, that star is you, or that star could be what you're creating. Ultimately, it's you, but that's what this year is about. It's a year of, like I said, putting one step in front of the other, not being afraid to create, not being afraid to communicate your value, and believing in that, like really believing in it, even if people may call you an imposter or a fake or a phony and shit. But like also, you still have to be walking in integrity too. So you'll have people that are communicating what they think is really valuable and stuff like that, what's valuable to them and stuff, but they may not be necessarily walking in integrity and stuff. So you're going to see that energy too. But anyways, I digress. And in many ways, those people are kind of like imposters. But anyways, I think that's pretty much it. I don't really have much else right now in this video for you guys. So I went pretty into this. So what time is it even? It's almost 7 o'clock. That's crazy. I can't believe I've been live for almost 2 hours. That is absolutely insane. Anyways, I really appreciate you all taking the time to share this space with me. And like I said, I really do trust that you got some value out of this. And I trust that you will go out into this world in 2021 and crush it and communicate and believe in the value that you're communicating to the world. We got to do our best to, of course, see in integrity and just, 2020 was a tough year for all of us. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's a lot of great things that happened too, though. A lot of great things that happened, especially a lot of like spiritual downloads. The spiritual downloads and the epiphanies were like really revved up and stuff. This is going to be the year where it's like, oh, what are we going to do with it? We got to take it and we got to do something with it and actually manifest things and bring it into like some sort of physicality. So, still got a little bit of this rat energy. It won't actually be the year of the metal ox until like February or so. So we still got some time for this. But, which is funny because the Chinese New Year gets closer to the actual New Year, which is, of course, Aries and stuff like that. But I digress. Anyways, I love you all so much. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. And I will see you all on the next video. I love you all so much. I really do. Hope I can make more videos like this, and it's not just so sporadic and stuff. So whether or not I actually get up in the morning and make videos like this and actually take my advice and actually crush it, let's see. It's going to be a challenge. I think one of my challenges is I get a lot of awesome, cool ideas, and I start working on them, but I can never do it to the point where it becomes a habit. At least not everything. So that's what I want to be working on this year. So I'm going to be right there with you. So I think one of my goals this year is to find accountability partners. Accountability partners is going to be a really big deal this year. Anyways, we'll talk about that in a later video. I love you all so much. Take care. Bless, guys. Peace. Happy 2021. We're here. We are here.